Alright, hi. Today we're video capturing a Nordic Equipment Services, the hydraulic switching tamper. This is what the hydraulic switch tamper, HES, known as the HST. Hydraulic switch tamper, Nordic Equipment Services. The only thing I could find for maintenance of the way equipment was Nordic would give the operation and maintenance manual along with the drawings. This is an operation maintenance manual for a hydraulic switch tamper. Last revision B, February 2014. Really fully read and fully understand precautions contained with this manual before operating and servicing the machine. Refer to Section 1 for important safety information. Component troubleshooting can be found in colored pages behind each tab. Revision A, first release. Revision B, updated works of travel, parking brakes, and section under the pre-operation. This is a manual. Talks about Nordic Equipment Services. Hazardous material data and efforts to provide the information necessary for employee safety training to meet the requirements of OSHA Hazard Communication Standards of 1910-1200. We have OSHA Form 20 safety data sheets available for the cover of the material contained within the machine. If interested in receiving information, please refer your name, model, serial number of the machine when calling and writing and direct your inquiries to Nordic Equipment Services, Customer Service 107 North U.S. Highway 45, Arkelo, Illinois 61910 or 272684823. All right, moving on. Safety. Please read and comply with all the safety precautions before operating this machine. General, do not use the machine for the machine operations other than which it was intended. Nordico Equipment Services, NES, is not responsible for modifications made within the authorization or written approval. Replace all Nordic Equipment Services with the OEM parts with genuine Nordic Equipment Services or OEM parts. Use of the non-OEM parts could be compromised. The safety of your machine. The FRA regulations require a copy of the operation manual to be kept on the machine at all times. Additional copies of the operation manual only can be ordered from Nordico Equipment Services, Customer Service 1217-268-4823. Follow safety instructions carefully. Read all safety messages manual. Learn how to operate the machine, how to use the control properly. Do not let anyone operate the machine without instruction. Failure to understand the contents of this manual could result in serious personal injury or death. Safety alert symbols. These are safety alert symbols. These symbols mean pay attention to your safety risk. You have the danger is used and indicate the definite of hazardous situation which is not avoided will result in severely bodily harm or even death. Warning indicates a potential hazardous situation in which is not avoided could result in severe and bodily harm or even death. Caution indicates a potential hazardous situation which is not avoided may result in minor or more moderate injury. Caution with the safety exclamation point means the failure to follow the alert may result in machine damage. And safety means the following points are instructions, safety operation machine, and the specific component of the machine. Alright, safety. General tips. Only trained and authorized personnel should be allowed to operate the machine. In addition, with all personnel at the worksite or gang should be aware of the safety and concerns of the individual responsibility prior to working with this machine. Safety. Number one, handle this fuel safely. If it's high, flammable, and prolonged breathing of the fumes may cause bodily harm. 2, prepare for emergency. Keep a first aid and for a fire extinguisher handy. 3, protect any flying pieces of metal, debris, and by wearing safety goggles. 4, wear good fitting pants and shirt, no baggy or loose clothing. 5, protect your head and eyes with the flying debris of wearing a hard hat and safety glasses. 6, wearing leather gloves and protect your hands with the vibration, flying metal, or particles. 7, use safety-toed work boots. Safety prior to working. All personnel on the worksite or gang should be aware of the safety concerns and the individual responsibility prior to working with this machine. For safety, review the operating instructions you are using. You are unsure of anything. If you're unsure of anything, use the pre-operational checklist. Check the machine for the obvious faults. Prepare to replace the necessary prior to the operating of the machine. Before climbing out of the machine, make certain the area around around and under the machine is clear of obstruction and personnel. Use care of climbing onto the machine. Will always use the steps and handrails provided if any area does not have the tread grips, walkways, or other methods to access the area. Then do not attempt to access that area. Make sure the control adjustments prior to the starting of the machine. Always wear a seatbelt. Know the weather forecast. Plan to work with speed accordingly. There are guards of the machine. These are to be removed only when the service of the maintenance is being performed on that area of the machine, making certain that they have been reinstalled prior to the starting of the machine. Check and service the fire extinguisher, if so, provided at regular intervals. Make certain that all personnel are trained to use, and note, non-use of the fire extinguisher still requires that it be recharged in intervals stated on the last inspection notice. Keep the stairs and cab entry, platform cab interior free of clearing of ice and tools and personal items. Use the optional accessory provided within the machine, toolbox, cup holder, coat hook, etc. to properly store your gear. Never climb onto the machine while it is in motion. The lockups of the machine that are used on both work and travel that should be kept clear and free of debris, grease, and etc. See a lockup section for instructions on their use. Inspect safety decals. Replace them when they become unreadable or damaged. Safety while starting the machine. Nordico Equipment Services NES recommends the use of the command position. This means the machine is never running unless someone is or at near main control panel to prevent the injury. Personal damage to the machine is highly recommended. Safety. Only start the operate the machine from the operator's seat. Use the startup checklist to check the machine controls and gauges to make certain all systems are operating correctly. Safety while operating and traveling. Never allow more riders than seats and seat belts allow. The machine was designed to be operated by one person. The machine is operated from the operator's seat alone. Do not stand and operate the machine. Press the emergency stop, push button, left arm console in the emergency potentially dangerous situations. 4. If the personnel or bystanders are near the machine during the operation, give the warning signal until using the air horn. If and they respond to this warning, stop the operation. If they fail to respond to this warning, stop the operation immediately. Slow down the work cycle. Use the slow travel speeds in congested, populated areas. Halt work if visibility is poor. Strong rains, fog, extremely dusty conditions can affect visibility in your work area. Wait for the weather to improve before continuing work. Safety while parked. When leaving a machine engine running, make certain that the parking brake is applied and electrical interlocking button has been activated. Never stop and park the machine and incline unless the machine wheels have been chocked. Save during the maintenance. The following guidelines are suggested with performing maintenance. Safety. Always chock the wheels. Alert the other areas of the service of the maintenance being performed on the machine. 3. Become familiar with the use of your company's log and tag out procedures when performing maintenance on the machine. See the lockout tag requirements later in the safety section for a chart on the energy sources located on the machine. Do not start the engine if the repairs of the work is performed alone. You should always have at least 2 people working together. If the engine must be run during the service, one person needs to remain in the command position at the controls, ready to stop the machine. Shut off the engine if the need arises. 5. Collect oils and fuels and dispose of them properly. There is a work of the danger of scalding when working with engine oils. Use only Nordico Equipment Services supplied repair parts on the machine. For this machine, use the non-OEM parts. Design parts could be compromised integrity of the machine. 7. And there are welding cautions on this machine prior to the welding. Kits supplied with the Nordico Equipment Services NES have welding instructions included. Welding of any of the components not of Nordico Equipment Services manufacturer. Failure to follow these instructions may affect the stability of this machine. Alright, safety. Machine safety alerts. Danger. Danger alerts. Improper use of the machine of any type of the operation that cause serious injury or death. To avoid serious injury or death, make certain that the area around and under the machine is clear of all personnel obstruction before traveling or working. Serious injury can result from reaching or working components while the machine is running. Make all observation from this distance. Shut off the machine while making adjustments. Shut off the engine when checking the battery at electrolyte level. Do not check or fill the battery in presence of open flame sparks or when smoking. Battery fumes are inflammable or an explosive and/or explosive, if ignited, will result in severe bodily injury or death. Do not ride on the tow bar between the machine and the towing vehicle. Falling from a moving vehicle may cause serious injury or death. Machine safety alerts, warnings, exclamation point, warning alerts. Failure to engage all lockup devices before propelling the travel speed can result in injury, personal, and extensive damage to the machine. Remove hose fittings only when the system is not pressurized. High pressure leaks can cause personal injury. Always turn off the machine when performing maintenance, making adjustments whenever the unintended movement of the machine could occur unless directed. Otherwise, failure to comply could result in personal injury or damage to the machine. Exhaust emanations can cause by the use of the engaging the machine and the cause of the cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm inhaled. Disconnect the battery before servicing the machine. Failure to do so result in personal injury of the accidental engine startup. When the machine is to be turned using the turntable, raise the machine only high enough for the wheels to clear the rail. Machine safety alerts, caution alerts. Never stop the hydraulic vibrators when the engine is at the full throttle. Always start at the engine idle, and damage to the vibrator motors will occur. Never run the vibrators with loose tools or the cause of them extreme damage to the hole inside of the tool holder portion of the vibrator. Alright, the hydraulic switch tampering, lockout and tag out procedures. Nordico has provided means of the lockout machine. Nordico can be held responsible for the cannot be held responsible for the injury causing the failure to comply with the company's lockout tag out procedures. The following procedures are designed to lead the operating through the steps required for the shut off the machine down to the prepare the performing mechanical maintenance work. The procedures are intended to release the potential dangers stored in energy forms, making the machine safe at the beginning of the repairs. It is your company's responsibility to lock out, tag out procedures based on the list. Train you in their proper safe and use to do the periodically inspect your work area and verify that complying with the procedures of lockout and tag out procedures must be followed. Safety procedures, lockout and tag out. Apply the electrical interlock for the overhead control console. 2. Chock the wheels to prevent accidental rolling of the machine on the grade. 3. If you have not already done so, determine with the components are to have maintenance. Place all the machine mechanical systems or workheads in a full up lock position. 4. When mechanical locking on the equipment is not feasible, maintenance of the lower component to be grounded prior to the working of the equipment. 5. Turning the ignition switch to the off position. Turn off the power to the control circuits of the machine. Place the tag-out card in the close proximity of the ignition switch. 6. Turn the battery disconnect BDS or battery disconnect switch to the off position. For machines that are remotely located with the battery disconnect switch, usually next to the battery switch box itself, the cover of the disconnect switch and the place of the lockout lock on the box already after you have switched it to the off position. Bleed off the hydraulic pressure by slowly cracking the hose fitting 1/8 of a quarter of an inch from the CCW or at the cylinder motor and the pump of the hydraulic circuit beginning with the work on. Service and performing the maintenance on circuits after steady the flow of the oil is gone. 8. Follow all companies' lockout and tag out rules before proceeding, and note that when they are working on the machine components, be aware of the moving components during the repairs may create energy moving a hydraulic cylinder. Proper precautions should be taken. Safety. Hazardous decals on the machine. Hazardous decals and plaques have been placed on the machine that are to be kept clean and legible. Replace any decals, plaques that have become illegible and are illegible and are missing. When repairing and replacing components with the hazardous decals on them, it is responsible to replace the decals. Refer to figure 6.4 of the mechanical section for a list of all decals and plaques of this machine. Hydraulic switch tamper. General. The manual contains the information of the hydraulic switch tamper. Throughout this manual, with reference to the right hand, left hand, front, and rear, all determined from the operator in the normal working position. If it is provided in this manual, operation maintenance of the machine information regarding the operation maintenance of the OEM, operation and equipment maintenance not of the Nordico equipment services manufacturer cannot be found at the back of this manual behind the tab of marked the component data. Become familiar with all safety instructions, controls, and instruments before operating the machine. Follow all instructions carefully. About this manual has been broken down into sections which have separated into index tabs. Mechanical has individual breakdown drawings and list of the assembly for each assembly. Hydraulics involved in includes adjustment, instruction, troubleshooting, hydraulic system, all piping, and the functional drawings of the standard machine operational equipment. Electrical includes electrical schematics, distribution, control boxes, cable drawings for the machine, as well as instructions. Pneumatic includes pneumatic schematics for the machine, as well as the troubleshooting instructions. Component data includes the breakdown service instructions of components installed on the machine that are not Nordico equipment services manufactured behind cylinders, valves, motors, pumps, engines, and other tabs. All rights reserved, and in the view of the constant improvement to our equipment, the specification data, other technical information include the manual and are subject to change. Note that part of this manual may be reproduced in any no part of this manual may be reproduced in any form by any means without written permission. All right, general. Your specifications: 28,000 pounds, length 220 feet by 6 inches, width 10 foot by 6 inches, height 10 foot by 4 inches, travel speed on the rail in excess of 35 miles an hour or maximum. Rated draw bar pulley on the rail 15,000 pounds. Turntable hydraulically operated rail to rail. Wheelbase none. Towing speed 35 miles an hour maximum. Capacity fuel tank dual connected tank 250 or 275 at 160 gallons. Hydraulic oil tank is 185 gallons. Oil cooler at 300 gallons per minute. 30 gallons per minute. Engine make and model: John Deere PE 6068HF 485. Continuous BHP 175 horsepower at 2200 RPMs. Oil capacity 32.5 liters. Hydraulic system: pressure settings, relief valve, track drive, 5,000 psi, main pump at 22 gallons, MFR, leaf cartridge, valve banks at 2,700 psi, pneumatic system, engine mounted compressor at 14 CFM at 120 psi, unloaded valve at 92 psi at 110 psi, relief valve at 150 psi, tanks at 6.5 gallons, air dryers: a C/R turbo 2000 with heater electrical system, 24 volt DC or two 12 volt batteries at 1150 cold crank amps, grounded negative, main disconnect, positive disconnection, drive system: drive type the dual axle drive, propulsion type hydraulic motor driven in the 4-speed transmission, axle size is 5-inch, wheel size and type is 24-inch diameter forged steel, brakes indexing, 4-wheel hydrodynamic traveling, 4-wheel clasping type of the fail-safe, and emergency parking fail-safe spring takeover. Items on the capacity may be items or capacities may vary according to the options of the machine. Approximate weight, actual weight may according to the options of your machine. Actual weight of the machine is stenciled. All right, pre-operation. General: do not use the machine for the machine operations other than which it is intended. The FRA regulations require a copy of this operation manual to be kept in the machine at all times. Additional copies of the operational manual only can be ordered from Nordico Equipment Services, Customer Service 1 217 268 48023. Carefully read all the safety messages in this manual on the decals located throughout the machine. Learn how to operate the machine, how to use the control properly. Danger: do not let anyone operate this machine without instruction. Failure to understand the contents of the manual could result in serious injury or death. About this machine: the hydraulic switch tamperer, is designed at a tamp ballast both inside and outside of the rails as well as through the switches. The hydraulic switch tamper is a workhorse designed for the speed, accuracy, dependability. The hydraulic switch tamper enables you to tamp the entire switch area and chase the production machines very quickly and accurately. The hydraulic switch tamper utilizes electrical and hydraulic controls, ergonomical operational station, 4-wheel drive, and air-operated class type of the brakes with a fail-safe feature on all 4 wheels. The tamping cycle can be done either manually or automatically. The automatic mode of operation of the tamping cycle is also follows a vibrator on, work down, and tools closed, tool open, work up head, and traction. Work heads can only operate separately or simultaneously. Operation station: almost all the controls of the running machine are located inside the cab. This includes but not limited to the overhead control, left and the right arm controls, the main control panel, and the propulsion braking controls. Under no circumstance are there to be more riders in the machine than the seat belts available. Always use a seat belt when sitting on the operator seat. For additional information concerning the controls using the operation station, refer to the cab controls indicator later in this section. Each of the workhead consists of a vibrator unit in the house of 4 tools. Each side of the machine has a front and a rear workhead of the operator with a sync with each of the other. The operator can select and whether he wants to run or just the left or the right sets or both at the same time. Once the machine has warmed up, the vibrator units can be turned on. It shows the motor, the fan, the vibrator, and the tool. Caution: the start-stop vibrators are the idle only at the failure to do so with the damaged vibrator motors. The vibrators will vibrate the tools approximately 32,000 vibrations per minute. With approximate movement range of 3/8 of an inch. As the tool vibrates lower, the ballast depth of the pre-selected down limit of the switching setting. See the down limit switch in the setup section of the manual for more information. When the maximum depth has been reached, the front of the rear of the workhead tools close and compact the ballast under the tie. The engine. Your machine is equipped with an automatic shutdown system when low engine oil pressure, high engine coolant temperatures have been reached. Before the machine reaches its shutdown levels, it will activate an audio or visual alarm. Your machine will also be equipped with the shutdown override switch system, which allows you to override the shutdown in the event of an emergency. This will give you the time to move the machine to a different location by shutting down the machine. Attempting to troubleshoot the engine problems, use the switch only in the event of the emergency. Electrical system. The hydraulic function of the machine are controlled with electrical systems. The relay limits and switches and micro switches timing modules that make up the electrical system are shown on the schematics of the wire diagram. It includes the electrical section of this manual. Controls and instruments. Become thoroughly familiar with the function operation. All controls prescribed in the section. Attempting to operate the machine. However, the information in the section intended for the descriptive purposes only, as also read carefully before instructions in the operation section of this manual before attempting to operate the machine. Note that your machine may not have all the optional controls instruments that are described in this section. Pre-operation. Your cab controls and indicators up-front console. Items may vary in location due to the options installed. Travel light. Instruments or control. Travel lights. Light function description. Light will illuminate the direction of the selected when the switch is in the on position. Will remain until the switch of the machine has been turned off. Work lights. Lights will illuminate and will switch and is in the on position will remain on until the switch or machine has been turned off. The parameter lights. Lights will illuminate on the side of the machine and selected when the switch is on in the position and remain until the switch or the machine has been turned off. Wipers on and off. Turn respective wipers on assembly on and off. Hydraulic temperature gauge indicates the oil temperature, hydraulic reserve not operating temperature of the 80 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything above indicates a possible problem with the oil cooler. The air pressure gauge measures the air system pressure, normal reading of 105 to 120 psi. The speedometer indicates the travel speed of the machine, both in kilometers and miles per hour. The hour meter blocks the number of the gauge, indicating the engine hours. Indication the electrical system energized. Turning the key to the right, electrical power is cut off. The engine will stop and the key is turned to the full left or vertical off position. The alarm. The buzzer sounds on the low oil pressure, high coolant temperature. The throttle engine speed switch. Monetarily switched used during the work travel shutdown holds the switch into the position of the desired engine and the RPM it has reached, and then release the switch. Electrical interlock. Shut off the travel power. All work power, and you'll still have the lights and horns and radio functions, etc. Murphy's Diagnostics Display. See the next page for details. Refer to the engine manual for error codes. This is Figure 1A. The controls indicators upper front console, engine diagnostic gauge, upper portion of the console from the far right corner. The red shutdown LED, the bezel, the enter key, the right arrow key, scroll down, left arrow key, scroll up, menu key, and screen, and the amber warning LED. Alright, turn the ignition switch in the first to 10. Power will come on and both the engine is not started or wait. The power view will come on and wait, and on a wait to start preheat message will appear on the screen. A light wait to start directly beneath the power over will turn on. The power view will turn on. When the message disappears from the light goes out in the safe start engine, you have the instrument control, a menu key. The menu key is touched on the either on the enter or the exit menu screens. The menu key is only used for during the factory setup procedures. Some components data section for the additional operation setup instructions. The left arrow, uses the left to move the left upper into the four up screen. You can also use the left arrow at any time to return to the previous screen. Right arrow, use the right arrow to keep the movement to the right, downward at four up screen and move the next set of four controls. The enter key is used. The fault occurs. Generally, any fault occurs will come up with the screen at the time it happens. In order to go back to the original status screen, you will have to push the enter key once. Note that they will hide the fault of the screen until you correct the fault or you press enter again. Warning light, amber LED. The LED status lights located on the upper right and upper left and upper right sides of the power view. When they are lit, the screen will tell you the fault and the code number of the fault and the method to correct the fault. All right, the amber warning LED light as an active fault code with the light comes on. Abnormal condition exists. It's not necessary to shut down the engine immediately, but problem should be corrected as soon as possible. The light will remain on only until all faults are corrected. Note that there may be more than one fault, and next or more appears on the bottom of the screen. You can also hide the faults by hitting the enter key. Hitting the enter key again will take you back to the fault. Note that ignoring active fault codes, warning, or shutdowns could result in severe engine damage. The shutdown derate LED. The red LED. The LED sets are located in the upper and upper right sides of the power view. While they are lit, the screen will tell you the fault and the code number of the fault and the methods to correct the fault. The red shutdown derate LED signal as the fault occurred requires immediate action. Shut down the engine, but not turn the switch to the off position. You must go through the codes on the screen, correcting the problems prior to restarting the engine in the power view. Remembers the errors. Note that ignoring activity fault codes or warning or shutdowns could result in severe engine damage. And the screen display also used to monitor the engine and engine controls. Hiding faults and warnings. If you are hitting the enter to the key of the fault condition, you have returned to the original 4 up or 1 up screen. The screen will now show the icons of the upper right hand corner of the 1 up screen in the middle of the 4 up screen. See the figure below to show that where faults occurred. In the 4 up shown below, the explanation point appears in the middle of the status that is showing a fault of the oil pressure. Remember, the screen will show an next or more if one error has occurred. Scroll through the screen until you have an individual component that has a fault or highlighted component. Press the enter key to read the fault. This indicates to the left. There's a box that says indicates the fault that has been hidden, and the icon tells you which kind of fault, like 98% RPMs, 14-point battery, 57 oil pressure, and 1,000 engine RPMs. Each fault indicating the different meaning of the different methods to correct. These are indicates the auxiliary gauge light, indicates the fault warning, indicates the derated shutdown condition. Notes. Faults can only be cleared when the fault has been corrected. Shut down the machine as soon as possible when you have encountered a shutdown fault. Figure 2, cab controls the indicator left arm console of the tamper of the hydraulic switching tamper. Figure 2, the cab controls the indicator left arm console. Note that the emergency stop button has been added to the left arm controls. This is used during the emergency situation. Should not be used as the method to routinely shut down the machine. Press the stop machine pulley to begin the machine startup procedures. Alright, instrument or control, the functional description. Travel work or mode is switched. The 2-position rotary switches, which is in travel mode, machine work, and the functions are disabled. Travel gears are only first and second. The work mode gets you low, and machine must be working during the work operations. Travel direction switch. 3-position rotary switch selects the desired direction of the travel. In addition, the gear switch select switch. The 3-position rotary switch used only when travel position. First gear used in normal working operation. Second gear used in the high-speed track travel. Caution: stop and start vibrators when at idle speed. Failure to follow this causes the damage of the vibrator motors. Left vibrator switch. 2-positionary rotor switch. Turns the left vibrator on and off. The right vibrator switch. Tune the position rotary switch. Turns the right vibrator on and off. The up feed bypass button. Bypass of the up limit switches of the workhead used to store with the workheads in the lock position. Also used to clear the rail when using the transverse mode. Working ahead lock switch. 2-position rotary switch used along with the travel work and mode switch used when up feed of the bypassing switch to raise the workheads prior to locking up. When the workheads are to be locked up, place the machine in the work mode and turn on the locks. Side and front controls. You have the service brake, the forward release brake. The service brake lever, the forward release brakes. Parking brake button. Pushes or pulled must be applied at all times when the machine is stopped. And warm up switch is an on and off switch. Your figure 3, the cab controls indicators in the right arm console. Your instrument and control with the function description. Work control joystick used in the travel work and the switch in the work position. Forward travels forward. Reverse left. Reverses to the left. The reverse travel up feed of the right works to come up to the up position and cycle back on the foot switch in the auto. The left traverse switch. Two-position monetary switch controls the left and the right movement of the left vibrator workhead. Releases the switch on once workhead has reached the desired position. Right transverse switch. Two-position monetary switch controls the left and right movement of the right vibrator workhead. Releases the switch of one of the workhead at the reach in the desired position. Workhead selection switch. The three-position rotary switch allows the operator to use either single workhead functions or both workheads simultaneously. Index switch always allows manual and auto cycling of the machine workheads. Pre-operation Figure 3. The cab controls indicated the main control panel, the right cab wall behind the operator. Instrument or control. The 12 volt DC, the 12 VDC power that provides the 12 volt power for the customer supplied equipment. Double tap the switch on and off. If the double tapping is required, place the switch on the on position. Double tapping will also always occur. Normal operation in the switch is in the off position. Traction delay on switch on and off. Traction delay is automatic operation only, can be initiated by turning the traction delay switch. The switch is works on the T1 inside of the control panel and sees the next page. Our alarms and LEDs. The alarms will sound when any of the four alarm states occur with the turn down and the low hydraulic oil, high hydraulic temperatures. They are separate from the alarm states issued by the Murphy diagnostic gauge. The green LED for the turntable indicates the turntable is raised. Figure 3. Cab controls indicators inside the main control panel. The right cab wall behind the operator. The cycle counter used to keep the track of the daily work cycles. Timer 1, T1 traction delay. Adjust the time delay for the time of the workhead's leave with the lower the limited switches during the up of the feed automatic mode. Machine forward travel to start. The option is provided with so that the operator can adjust his indexing of the tie working with the machine down to the steep grade to allow the workheads to clear the tie. The timer only works the traction delay switch in the opposite position. Timer 2, a double tap, adjusting the time delay between the workheads to go up to an up position before the starting of the cycle. Again, this timer relays the energized by the squeeze pressure switch. This timer only works with the double tap switches in the on position. Timer 3, the pump timer. When activated, energizes the CR6 turning on the pumps. When the power is taken away, the timer runs to the determined time, then dropping off the P1 and P2 normal setting of the timer should be also around 3 seconds. The timer is adjustable to 6 seconds. Alright, Table Op 7 remote control indicators. These are pictures of your tamper, your hydraulic switch tamper. Alright, 1. Control instrument. The emergency pump. Located on the frame between the hydraulic tank and engine. Control switch is located within its box mounted to the engine shroud above the turbo. 2000 air dryer pump is used when there is the loss of system pressure and movement of the hydraulic cylinders is necessary. System of the pressure is supplied by the electrical pump. The turn-off pump. The top off pump. The top off pump can be either the electrical or manual pump. There is used in the filling the hydraulic tank. Control switch for the electrical pump located in the box mounted to the engine shroud above the turbo. 2000 air dryer called the transfer pump on decal. The battery disconnect switch located next to the battery box of the two positions. Switch marked on the on and off plaque. This must be off and covered locked during the service. Hydraulic oil tank site level located on the hydraulic oil tank. It indicates the level of the hydraulic oil in the tank. The air system controls air system drain and air tank's water drain and purge tank drain and pull cord to release. The air dryer removes moisture from the air in the air system. The fuel filler fill the machine with the fuel through opening. Turntable control valve used to lift the machine off the track up and down a directional control valve. Note that when the turntable is raised, it must be locked up at all times. Pre-operation hydraulic switch tamper. The HST, the workhead lockups removal. Caution, exclamation points, failure to remove all the lockup devices before working on operations can result in injury to personnel and or damage to the machine. The machine is equipped with a number of locking devices to ensure the proper operation of the machine. For the most part, the devices are used to make sure that the certain moving parts remain secure while the machine is in track of the traveling. Engage all components of the lockup prior to the travel and through the crossing and switches and frogs. Workhead lockup, you see the workhead lockup and the transverse extension. Unlocking the workheads at the right operator seats in the console, select both of the vibrator selector switch. At the left operator seat console, push the up head by the up feed bypass push button. Place the workhead locks of the switch in the off position and activate the cycle level with all will cause both of the workheads to drop into the ballast. At the right of the operator seat console, move the joystick to the right to cause both workheads to upfeed and stop on their respective upper limit switches. Note that the hydraulic switch tamper are equipped with the transverse extensions which permit the workheads to tamp the area outside of each of the rail. Remove the pin and swing out and insert the pin in for the works position. Pre-operation transverse lockup shows the transverse lockup and the procedure. Pull down, twist 1/4 return, and run the machine until the work is centered. When the work is properly centered and pinned, we'll enter and lock in correctly. Used when transporting on truck, when tamping through super elevations through the creep that doesn't occur. Pre-operation, turntable lockups and removal installation costs and exclamation point. Failure to engage all lockup devices before propelling at a travel speed can result in injury to the personnel and or damage to the machine. Do not climb under the machine when it is raised on a turntable. This is to be used on the method of turning on the machine. It is not intended to be used for the maintenance of the items under the machine. Using the following procedures to install the lockups, note that with the exception of the suspension lockout, and all lockups are to be placed during track travel. Alright, this shows the lockup and the procedures. Machine must be in the work mode and warm up the switches on the front of the left-hand arm console must be on the on position. Locate the turntable valve, the turntable lockup box on the left-hand rear side of the machine below the air dryer. Remove the red lock pin. Pull the black knob to unlock the cylinder. Lift the hand slowly to raise the machine. Lower the handle slowly to lower the machine. Machine will remain in position when the handle is released. Verify the turntable is in the full op position. When the turning is complete, lower the machine to the rails, push in the cylinder, lock knob, and apply the lock pin. Used at any time when the turntable is not being used. Preparing the machine for work. As with any machine, the pre-operation checks and preventive maintenance checks should be performed before using the machine. We suggest that you follow the guidelines listed below before the actually operating machine. Position the machine on a level track so that the fluid levels can be accurately checked and filled as necessary. Check the engine oil and coolant levels as necessary. Check the diesel fuel level in tanks that are located on either side of the machine. Each tank holds approximately 50 to 75 gallons each, depending on the option installed and are connected to each other as fills as required. Check the hydraulic oil level in the making certain that the tank is over 3/4 of full, but not filled to the top. Check the oil level in each of the vibrator housing using the side of the glass on each of the vibrator. Oil should be on the top of the sight glass. Note that the vertical must be in a vertical position in order to accurately read the level of the oil and the fills as required. 2. Check the status of the lockups. If the lockups must be installed for travel purposes only, unlock during work operations. Make certain that you know all the understanding and the use of all machine controls and as outlined earlier in this section. Perform the preventive maintenance procedure as is required of the daily, weekly, monthly, and etc. Make certain that you check as a hydraulic other fluid leaks and prior to the operating of this machine. Be ready to operate the machine with an alert and safety conscientious attitude. Make certain that the machine is set up and the rail size being worked on or adjustment is required as are described under the machine setup and operation. Work properly with safety clothing. Machine startup caution. Before starting on the new or overhauled engine that has been in storage, consult the engine manual for the initial startup instruction. Failure to follow these instructions can result in serious engine damage. Warning! Exclamation point! Exhaust emissions caused by the use of the machine may cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm if inhaled. Alright, engine operation. Avoid unnecessary idling. Ensure the section of the strainer valves of the hydraulic oil tank are open. Suction strainers are located in the base of the hydraulic tank between the tank and the engine. Open the battery box covering the part of the right-handed walkway behind the cab to turn the battery switch down. Disconnect the switch to the on position. This fully clockwise position is not identified. Make certain that the travel work and the switch on the left arm console is on the travel position. Make certain that the gear selector switch on the left arm console is on the neutral position. Make certain that the parking brake and the switch on the left side of the left arm console has been applied. 6. Make certain that the forward, reverse, and the travel selector switch on the left arm console with the neutral position. Turn the ignition switch on the front overhead console clockwise until the engine starts. Never activate the starter for longer than 10 seconds. If then the engine fails to start after 3 tries, consult the engine manual or local John Deere representative. Release the ignition switch of the wheel spring back to the center position. Will allow 5 to 7 minutes to the warm up, and if it's first started at the first start of the day. If the outside ambient temperature is below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, turn off the travel work switch, and on the left arm console to the work position, turn the warm up switch on the front of the left arm console to the on position until the hydraulic oil temperature gauge and the front overhead console reach 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Caution, running the hydraulics at a temperature below 32 degrees Fahrenheit may cause extensive damage to the machine. 10. Allow the engine to idle until the warm-up, and then bring the engine slowly to the full RPM by pressing the engine speed switch up until the desired RPMs have been reached, and then releasing the switch. Track travel. Make certain that all the lockups are installed prior to the track travel. Workhead locks, traverse locks, traverse extensions, turntable, center jack. Release the fail-safe and parking brake switch. Put the travel and work switch in the travel position. Position the forward reverse travel selector and the switch of the left arm console in the desired direction. Travel. Use the gear selector switch and select the low first or high second gear. Do not switch gears when machine is motion. Allow machine to come into the complete stop before attempting to change gears. To press and continue the pressing of the foot and switching to the engage pump of the travel, the machine will move under the power for as long as your foot is on the switch. Let off this foot switch to allow the machine to coast. To apply the service brakes, pull the lever on the left side of the left arm console. Alright, work travel. Make certain that their lockups are installed prior to the track travel. Workhead locks, traverse extension, turntable, center jack. Release the fail-safe and parking brake switch. Pull the travel work switch to the work position. Transmission will be in low load during all work operations. Use the electric joystick on the right arm to console. Select the direction of the travel. Braking during the working of the travel is set by the working deceleration valve located behind the operator seat next to the turntable cycle control cover. Tighten the knob. CW is in hard faster deceleration, loosening or the knob of the CCW is slower deceleration. Caution, over and adjusting the decal valve to whether the wheels slide and will result in driveline or other drivetrain failure. 6. To apply service brakes, pull on the lever on the left side of the left arm console. Deceleration valve, the parking brake. The parking brake is activated with the valve located on the side of the left arm console. The valve exhausts air from the spring brake, the chambers permitting the spring force to apply with the services brakes to operate the parking brake. Push the valve to apply the brakes. Push the valve to release the brakes. Always apply the parking and emergency brake before the leaving of the cab when stopping for the extended periods. Alright, I believe we're on setup of the machine now. We're out of pre-operation. We're on setup of the machine. I'm going to take a break and come back.